Dr. Károly Zsolnai Fehér. I think this might be it. This paper is called Monte Carlo Geometry Processing. In my opinion, this may be one of the best, if not the best, computer graphics paper of the year. There will be so many amazing results. I first thought this one paper could be the topic of 10 2-minute papers videos, but I will attempt to cram everything into this one video. It is quite challenging to explain, so please bear with me, I'll try my best. To even have a fighting chance at understanding what is going on here, first we start out with one of the most beautiful topics. In computer graphics, which is none other than light transport. To create a beautiful light simulation, we have to solve something that we call the rendering equation. For practical cases, it is currently impossible to solve it like we usually solve any other equation. However, what we can do is that we can choose a random ray, simulate its path as it bounces around in the scene, and compute how it interacts with the objects and materials within this scene. As we do it with more and more rays, we get more information about what we see in the scene. That's good, but look, it is noisy. As we add even, we can take samples. One sample is simulating. Of course, over time, as we compute more samples, the noise clears up and we get this beautiful final result. And the concept can be used for so much multiple ways to solve a problem that Dear fellow scholars, this is 2-minute papers with Károly Zsolnai Fehér. In this project, OpenAI built a hide-and-seek game for their AI agents to play. While we look at the exact rules here, I will note that the goal of the project was to pit 2 AI teams against each other and hopefully see some interesting emergent behaviors. And, boy, did they do some crazy stuff. The coolest part is that the 2 teams compete against each other, and whenever one team discovers a new strategy, the other one has to adapt. Kind of like an arms race situation, and it also resembles generative adversarial networks a little. And the result...
Keep getting stuck learning to play guitar? Hey guys, I'm Andrew Foy, you might know me from my YouTube channel. I wasn't always...
Dear fellow scholars, this is back in 2016, approximately 300 videos ago. It was able to take a video of us and transfer our gestures to a target subject. With techniques like this, it's now easier and cheaper than ever to create these deepfake videos of a target subject, provided that we have enough training data, which is almost certainly the case for people who are the most high-value targets for these kinds of operations. Look here, some of these videos are real and some are fake. What do you think? Which is which? Well, here are the results. This one contains artifacts and is hence easy to spot, but the rest, it's tough. And it's getting tougher by the day. How many did you get right? Make sure to leave a comment below. However, don't despair, it's not all doom and gloom. Approximately a year ago, in came Face Forensics, a paper that contains a large dataset of original and manipulated video pairs. As this offered a ton of training data for real and forged videos, it became possible to train a deepfake detector. You can see it here in action, as these green to red colors showcase regions that the AI correctly thinks were tampered with. However, this follow-up paper, by the name Face Forensics++, contains not only an improved dataset, but provides many more valuable insights to help us detect these deepfake videos and even more. Let's dive in. Key insight number 1. As you've seen a minute ago, many of these deepfakes introduce imperfections, artifacts, to the video. However, most videos that we watch on the internet are compressed And the compression procedure, you have guessed right, also introduces artifacts to the video. From this, it follows that hiding these deepfake artifacts behind compressed videos sounds like a good strategy to fool humans and detector neural networks likewise. And not only that, but the paper also shows us by how much exactly. Here you see a table where each row shows the detection.
Here's how you order it from me.
Okay.
Right? You've got the
This sonata has the peculiarity, of course, of these slow 2 bars that start, which are really nothing to do with the reality. This is very simple in a way to break into this unreal world. But when it comes in the recapitulation, and you have you come back. I think you need more time. The split second of being stunned by this unreal world of sound, of music. I don't think you can go. You can do that when there is only that one bar, there's nothing, you know. And the second time, of course, when it comes this you did wonderfully. Because of the harmonic. You did this wonderfully. You started because this comes out of this world. I think it's like if you are faced with unreal, naturalistically impossible to explain, you know, something like the arrival of the statue in Don Giovanni in the second act, you know.
Same chord.
It's the same chord and it's the same kind of quality. First, you have to come to terms with the fact that you are put face to face with something which is not real. And then you react to it. The first reaction is, you call it whatever you want. I don't like to get into images, you know, you call it resistance or acceptance or whatever you want. But but the second one, this is, the first one is as if you say, my God, never been aware of anything like this before, and you bring yourself back to the reality. The second one is, how do I live with it? The first one is, what is it? The second is, how do I live with it? I think this can be a little bit more clear, and I think you will get that very simply by having a split second of silence, of studying, that you have that. Then I think you have to be a little bit careful. I know you want to always but it's not really even. You know, they mustn't sound. No. Why? Because now you take away of the impact of the sforzando on the weak beat if you don't make it even before.
I was thinking of contrasting the two elements by using the fact that this one is always on the beat.
Yeah.
And this is always off the beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I was thinking to actually prolong it.
But maybe it is a question of quantity. Maybe it's a question of quantity. It was so much that then I thought when the sforzando came, you had given away all your magic tricks, you know. And after the sforzando, I will play lighter. You know, you play and then the last one, you know. I think also when you play this, the need for rubato is understandable, but I think it must be over the whole 2 bars. You know, it was a little bit sometimes start and stop, because it was rubato always has to have a minimum and a maximum time in which it takes place. If you do it over too short a moment, you stop the music, and if you do it over too long a period, you disrupt the music, the continuity. I think this you have to find. And the last thing I want to say before is also articulation, of course, and wonderful, and you do that wonderfully, but don't lose the line. It's a little bit jerky. And the last thing in the exposition, the syncopation. I think that I would start those a little bit more gradually. You know, it was suddenly, you know, the Fifth Symphony. I don't think so. You know, out of that. Why do you wait before the last note? No, tell me why.
To make sure that it's one line with this.
And you think,
not.
No, I'm not talking about volume. I'm talking about the weight.
Instead of using volume, I'm waiting. Maybe I should use volume.
No. But why don't you just go through as a preparation to the A and then go through? Otherwise, you make a point that the A is not part of the arpeggio. If you play, it's not. You must take the left pedal off when you start. Clearly, after so that you get the very clear change of the pedal, the fog of the pedal, and the harsh reality without pedal. Both pedals, I mean. It's not. You can do that more poetic. Yes. It's very, very tempting to try and play always the same speed. And whereas a little flexibility inside, ebb and flow inside the arpeggio. Yes. Abrupt change. Yeah. Yeah. Also, shy. You do one figure. Repeat. Now, the next time goes longer. You must really make that a little more clear. I think that you put too much pedal there, and it loses the. No, you play suddenly longer. You see. Yeah, the score must be fuller, so that you can go back to. Yeah, look, Shai, after you play, make sure that you go.
Кого обжорство?
Вы очень скоро умрете. Наконец-то. Как скоро? Как будете себя вести? Я тут слегка приболел раком. Всем пока, не умрите тут от скуки.
Твое здоровье.
Обожаю шутки за 300.
Итак,
Зануда, садись, 4.
но я даже не закончила.
Найди парня.
Вы не против, если я дуну? Они что, там травку курят?
Это такой новый метод.
You know, Director Brennan, everything that Joe described and more is how I felt watching all this. And I can't help but think watching the Republicans. Want to bring our panel now to discuss more. Peter Baker, Chief White House Correspondent for the New York Times, Emily Tish Sussman, Democratic Strategist and host of your Presidential Playlist podcast, and Tim Miller, Director of Republican Voters Against Trump and contributor to The Bulwark. Welcome to you all, guys. Thanks for joining me on this. Peter, I want to start with you on this one, and I want to pick up where I left off with Frank, and that is the strike on the Iranian nuclear scientist inside Iran's borders. How do you think this is going to complicate things when it comes to the Biden administration wanting to re-enter some sort of Iran nuclear deal heading into his administration?
Well, clearly it puts things in a different light than the President-elect Biden had expected when he will take office on January 20th. It creates raw feelings. It obviously undermines, the possibility of a rapprochement. On the other hand, I mean, you could play out an alternative scenario. You play out an alternative scenario where Trump, in some ways, did Biden a favor because this happened on his watch. The Iranians aren't going to blame Biden for it. He can come in and say, look, it's time to turn the page and move beyond Trump-style confrontation and get something closer to the 2015 agreement back on the table and moving again. I think that Biden has the opportunity to be, a fresh voice in this conversation because, in fact, the Iranians don't attach Trump actions to him, but we don't know. It's a complicated scenario, and the Iranians aren't exactly the most transparent, regime in the world, and how they're going to see this and what they might do in retaliation these next 50 days will obviously scramble the equation.
Emily, let's talk election here for a moment. Let's move on from Iran at this point and talk election. And the president's still tweeting about it. He tweeted about it 20 minutes ago or so. He talked about the number of ballots. The campaign is challenging in Pennsylvania is far larger than the 81,000 vote margin. It's not even close. Fraud and illegality are a big part of the case. Documents being completed. We will appeal. No evidence of anything that the president is saying in this tweet. No evidence of any of his tweets, anything that he has said in any of his tweets since November 3rd at this point. It seems as if, and I've been saying this over and over again, like he's shouting into this void. He lost some major legal battles over the weekend, a complete rebuke from a Pennsylvania judge there who was appointed by Trump himself. And then he had that really interesting exchange with reporters on Thanksgiving as well, where he began to attack reporters. Jeff Mason, actually, who I spoke to just yesterday, and his attack of Jeff Mason in that call. What do you make of some of the latest developments we've been seeing so far in the election?
I can assign reason to many of the things that the president is doing. I am not that smart, but I mean, I do think that we are seeing his unraveling. Like, he doesn't know, he doesn't have the emotional capacity, he doesn't have the emotional intelligence to be able to say, okay, I lost, the American people spoke, and now it's time to move on. So he's doing what he actually does know, which is to double down. And unfortunately, there is a large percentage of the country who supports him and is now conditioned to believe what he says exclusively. What no one else says matters. There is really not another news source, surrogate, that can change their mind. And I know there's a lot of people, me included, who were hoping that a lot of very important Republicans would come out and start saying, this is ridiculous, he lost the election, it's time to move on. And some have, I'd say, really not enough.